Straight ahead on CCX News, about to get underway in Maple Grove, a multi-million-dollar Target remodel, one that will include beer and liquor sales. Plus, is a pool in the budget? Brooklyn Park debates the issue that comes up frequently in city surveys. And why you'll be seeing more lime green in Golden Valley. CCX News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Target will soon have its own liquor store in Maple Grove.
The Maple Grove City Council approved a liquor license for the retail giant on Monday night. As Eric Nelson reports, it's part of a major remodel set to get underway.
This is where our new liquor store will be housed and will be opening. And then the entrance to it will be inside our exit vestibule here.
The bullseye is getting into the liquor business.
We're excited here. We've been pushing for it. Clearly it's something that we wanted as a company, and we're very excited to have that in our store.
Super Target in Maple Grove will start selling alcohol in a few months. It's all part of a store makeover that will cost roughly $10 million.
We're getting a full overhaul, a full remodel. Pretty much every department in our store will be touched, and in July is when we're looking to wrap up.
Currently, Maple Grove has 12 liquor stores within city boundaries. Officials believe Target will be a lucky 13th.
I'm glad that Target's putting the investment into the community. Those are always, in this environment where retail is struggling at times, I think it's always a concern as to whether or not these stores will continue to operate.
However, not everyone is excited about Target getting into the alcohol business.
I'm just concerned having another liquor store that close.
Haskell's is located next door, and it's highly unlikely they will roll out a welcome mat for the new liquor store in the neighborhood.
I'm just concerned as a responsible seller of a controlled substance, and luckily with a very clean track record here in Maple Grove, that now we're going to have issues.
We have some liquor stores here across the street from each other, so maybe sharing a wall isn't ideal, but I think that's fine.
In Maple Grove, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
The renovation of the Maple Grove Super Target will begin in a couple of weeks. It is expected to be completed by early July.
Minnesotans hoping for an early start to spring will have to be patient. Homeowners were busy on Tuesday trying to dig themselves out of this late winter storm. New Hope weather watcher Steve Reckers says more than 5 inches of snow fell between Monday night and Tuesday morning. And after a relatively dry start to the season, Reckers predicts this winter's snowfall total will end up above average.
So right now we're at 52.3 inches for the season, which is right on normal for a whole season, and we've still got 3 weeks in March to go and all of April. So we're going to exceed that, no doubt.
For the snowiest March, Reckers says you have to go back to 1965 when we received 33 inches of snow. Back-to-back snowfalls are costing local cities some more money.
Our reporter Sonia Goen shows us how Brooklyn Park is impacted.
Brooklyn Park Public Works crews are working around the clock, clearing snow-packed streets. The small army of snowplows still has tanks full of salt, although they've been out for hours.
This storm here, we used very little salt, and it's still going to melt on its own.
It takes a complex formula to figure out just how much salt to apply.
Time of year, the temperature, how much traffic, is it end of the day, what's the forecast, all that stuff also weighs into how much salt you need to use.
Steve says it's easier for crews to salt this time of year. That's because they don't have to use as much salt as they do in colder months, and less salt is also better for the environment.
Salt works a lot better when it's warmer, and then now it's 20 some above, and it just so happened this last year we had a lot of really cold days when we got snow, and salt doesn't work that good, and it was December, so the sun's not very high, so you have to use more salt to get it to work.
So far this winter, Brooklyn Park has used more sodium chloride than they would typically use.
We had so many of those small snowfalls during the winter time when it was cold, and we had to use more salt. And on average, we probably use a little over 3,000 tons a year, so it's 2/3 of an average winter we still have sitting in there.
As a result, this winter season is costing the city some cold cash.
This year we probably used $40,000 to $50,000 more in salt than we would on an average year.
But the good news is spring is around the corner. Hopefully the snow will stop and we won't see any more snow until next fall.
Next year we'll order some more salt as needed and we'll go from there.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
The decision whether to get a swimming pool in Brooklyn Park could fall on voters in November.
The city council members voted Monday night for a consultant to determine the cost of building and operating an aquatic facility. Shannon Slatton has more.
The 6th largest city in Minnesota has a robust park system where you can play ball or take a walk to the park that's not very far from where you live. What it does not have, however, is some sort of swimming pool.
We are surrounded by cities that do have pools. Brooklyn Park, as large as we are, it's a wonder why we don't have one.
Monday night's work session discussed hiring a consultant to produce more information about how much money it would take not only to build some sort of swimming pool or splash pad, but what it would take to sustain it.
We need the facts, and we need information from the experts that really have built these facilities and know what it will take to build them.
Council members have said on record several times that residents keep asking about getting some sort of aquatic facility in Brooklyn Park.
We had these community meetings, and when we got all done with everything that was said, what came up on top was the aquatic center.
Plus, a recent survey from Parks and Recreation put an aquatic facility at the top of residents' wish list.
The aquatic facility once again rose to the top as a community interest. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
The council voted to hire a consultant so they can better know what a public-private partnership could look like, plus a price tag for how much taxpayers would pay to build it, and then how much they would pay to use it.
I think the problem that we have with everybody wanting an aquatic facility is there was never any numbers attached to it, anything on what they wanted.
Let's go to the residents and ask them. And in order to do that, we have to know what the costs are going to be, how it might look structure-wise, what our partners may or may not be.
In Brooklyn Park, Shannon Slatton, CCX News.
After the consultant brings back what a pool facility would cost, then council members will decide whether to put the issue on the November ballot. That decision could come late summer.
Well, construction is happening fast, really fast, at the site of the New Hope swimming pool. Well, maybe not as fast as you're about to see. This is a time lapse of the pool demolition from February 26th through March 2nd. The site will become the future New Hope City Hall and Police Station, which is expected to be ready by the middle of next year. New Hope does plan to build a new pool, but it's uncertain what kind and what size. Local lawmakers are pushing for state funding to build a pool that would be the same size as the old one.
Minnesota's first bike sharing program outside of Minneapolis and St. Paul is on its way to Golden Valley.
Certainly folks have probably seen some nice ride bikes, maybe on some of the trails, but to have a program based out of a city or operating fully within a city will be, Golden Valley will be the first.
Golden Valley is close to an agreement with the bicycle sharing company Lime Bike on a pilot program that would bring about 500 bikes to the city. Lime Bike is a dockless biking system where people can look for a bike using an app on their phone and then unlock the bike by paying a fee. When you're finished riding, you can lock up the bike wherever you are.
We want to see how the bikes are used, where they go, what the challenges are, what people's experiences with them are, and see if this is something that is a good fit for Golden Valley.
Regular bikes would cost about $1 for a half hour. If you want an electric bike to help power you up steep hills, that will cost $1 for every 10 minutes of use. Final approval is expected on March 20th, and city officials hope to launch the program sometime in April. Still ahead, how a Brooklyn Park Elementary School is trying to build community and reward good student behavior.
Plus, the Maple Grove girls basketball team gets set to play for a section championship. We'll hear from the Crimson.
But first, a much better travel day on Wednesday, a high near 30. A Brooklyn Park school is working hard to create a sense of community to help students learn.
But it's not easy when there's high student turnover. In today's School Spotlight, how Crestview Elementary is working to rise to the challenge.
Okay, so here's your first problem.
There's plenty of energy in the room as Ms. Leininger's 5th grade class comes back from recess, but she quickly gets everyone back on track with a math lesson.
How many times am I going to move my place value or my decimal over? 2 times. 2 places. 1, 2.
Located on Zane Avenue, Crestview has about 60 more students this year than last year. It's a school that sees a lot of student turnover, and that can be a challenge.
You work so long with one student, and then, you see progress, and then, they have to move for, life circumstances or whatever.
Principal Sean Stibbins says as families move in and out, it's harder to build relationships, but that's what they try to do.
Building relationships with students and getting them to a place where you create an environment in your classroom where you can build community, and students care about one another.
One way to do that is with college-age mentors from North Hennepin Community College.
She acts just like me. You're supposed to be the mentor that acts most like you.
Jelia Seaman says the mentors she meets with every week through the one-to-one program focuses on home life and homework.
If I wasn't paying attention in class, I'd tell her, and she'd say, here, I'm going to write this down for you, and then you're going to hang this in your locker so you can remember to work on this in class.
The idea is to get community members in the school to serve as role models.
It's probably our fifth graders' favorite day of the week that are part of the one-to-one program, just because they are excited to be with other adults that aren't just us teachers here at school.
And other students become mentors themselves.
We help the lower grades in our school, and we help them with needs. So like if teachers need help with teaching the kids with multiplication, we'd go there and just help out a bit.
Fifth grader Emily Yang is part of a group called Powerpuff Kids. They're kids mentoring younger kids. Part of the job is to help reward students for good behavior. Students earn tickets when they meet the benchmarks of being respectful, responsible, and kind. Then the Powerpuff Kids draw a ticket and name a student of the week. It's a relationship that pays both ways.
Like, like the really happy, good feeling when you do something good and you help out a bit. Yeah, that kind of feeling.
Last fall, T-Wolves guard Jamal Crawford brought inspiration and school supplies to Crestview.
Our fifth grade students loved it, and they were screaming and nearly knocked him over.
It was a delivery of backpacks for students and gift cards for teachers' classrooms that's still remembered, and adds to the idea of community.
It's just the feeling in the building that students get, that the teachers get, the staff get, kind of knowing we've made progress.
While Crestview has seen growth in student population this year, they still have plenty of space in the building. Well, still ahead, art inspired by flight.
But first, a look ahead to the playoff matchups in boys basketball for local teams. John Jacobson has the details coming up next in sports.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. Maple Grove's girls basketball team plays for a spot in the state tournament Thursday. The Crimson are shooting for their first state tourney appearance since 2011. Maple Grove is 23-5 on the season and own wins over Elk River and Moorhead in the Section 8-4A tournament. Up next is top-seeded St. Michael Albertville, a team the Crimson lost to in the Knights Holiday Tournament back in December. There are definitely some things the Crimson can do better this time around.
Turnovers were a problem just because we let them control the pace. We were rushing, and they play like amazing perimeter defense. So when our passes weren't strong, and for sure, they definitely picked a lot of those.
St. Michael's a great team. I mean, they're very well coached. They are going to be prepared. They're as prepared as any team you'll ever play. Kent does a great job with them. Ball pressure everywhere. Ball pressure in the full court. Ball pressure in the half court. And they're just very sound with everything that they do. They're very fundamentally sound.
Maple Grove and St. Michael Albertville tip off for the Section 8-4A title at 6 p.m. Thursday at Buffalo High School. Crimson senior Autumn Mlinar is hoping to extend her career with a win in that section final. On this week's Sports Jam show on CCX, Jay Wilcox profiles Mlinar. Here's a clip from that story.
She's become a household name in girls' basketball circles. Well, at home games at least. Maple Grove's Autumn Mlinar has heard her last name butchered in a variety of ways on the road.
Oh, there's just so many. Mlinar, there's just endless possibilities. Miller, I'm like, come on, there's an A in there. I mean, it doesn't bother me that much. I'm used to it.
With her Crimson career winding down, Autumn is thrilled to have been part of the program, and especially in this very strong season.
Oh my gosh, it's been amazing. I mean, my last 4 years have been awesome. This program's amazing. I love every single person that I've met along the way. I'm going to cherish all those friendships so much. I mean, this team is special, and I've been here for 4 years, and honestly, this year is completely different than all the rest of the years. I've had a great time the rest of the years, but this year is definitely our year.
Watch the rest of that story and plenty more on Sports Jam. It's on through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. Local boys basketball teams will see the playoffs tip off this week, with a number of teams in the area having good chances to reach the state tournament. In Section 5-4A, Park Center is the top seed with Champlin Park in the number 2 slot. Osseo is the 3rd seed, followed by Roseville, Spring Lake Park, Irondale, Centennial, and Mounds View. In quarterfinal games Wednesday, Park Center hosts Mounds View, Osseo is home to face Irondale, and Champlin Park hosts Centennial. The semifinals are next Tuesday at Maple Grove High School. Hopkins is the number 1 seed in Section 6-4A. Defending section champ Wayzata is the number 2 seed. St. Louis Park is 3rd, followed by Armstrong. Then it's Minneapolis schools South, Washburn, and Southwest. In quarterfinal games Tuesday, Armstrong hosts South. Wayzata is at home against Southwest. Top seed Hopkins has a bye. Semifinals are Friday at Osseo High School. Maple Grove is the top seed and defending champion in Section 8-4A. Then it's St. Cloud Tech, Rogers, and St. Michael Albertville. The Crimson open the playoffs tonight, Tuesday at home against Brainerd. Semifinals are Saturday at St. Cloud State. Cooper is now in Section 6-3A. The Hawks are the 3rd seed behind De La Salle and Orono. Benilde is number 5. Cooper hosts Minneapolis Roosevelt in the quarterfinals Wednesday. Benilde is at Waconia. In Section 5-2A, Minneapolis North is the top seed. Brooklyn Center is 2nd, followed by Holy Family, Breck, and Maranatha. Breck hosts Howard Lake Waverly in the first round Thursday, while Maranatha is at home against Pact, and Providence plays at Litchfield. Brooklyn Center and North have byes into the quarterfinals, which all take place Saturday at St. Michael Albertville High School. Prairie Seeds is the number 2 seed and Heritage number 5 in Section 4A. Highlights from Section Girls and Boys Basketball Wednesday, starting at 4 here on CCX News.
Wow, lots to watch. Thanks, John. Coming up next, 2 Maple Grove sisters, now award-winning artists.
Their prize-winning work when we come back. Finally, 2 young artists are inspired by the future of aviation in Minnesota.
And these artists are also sisters. This is Renee O accepting her award and one for her sister from the MnDOT Office of Aeronautics, which promotes aviation in the state. The theme this year is Flight into the Future. And Renee won in the 6 to 9-year-old age group. She is a student at Weaver Lake Elementary in Maple Grove, and her older sister Jane is a student at Osseo High School, and she won first place in the 14 to 17-year-old category. MnDOT will create postcards from the winning entries, and then they go on to a national competition.
Great, some proud parents.
Good stuff.
In Maple Grove.
Good stuff. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We will see you back here again on Wednesday, starting at 4 o'clock.